Please tell me he's okay. Tan Songyun's desperate reaction to Sukai accident rumor. The moment those words reached her ears, the entire atmosphere shifted. Tan Songyun was in the middle of a live event, surrounded by bright stage lights, expectant fans, and cameras capturing every second, when a whisper traveled from backstage to the production crew, then to the staff member at the side of the stage. It was not a scream, not a shout, not even a panicked announcement. It was a quiet, trembling message delivered in fragments. Something had happened to Sukai. Something no one could fully confirm. Something that reached her in the most devastating way possible. Hold on tight, C-Drama family. The world of your favorite celebrities is unfolding before your eyes, and every moment is more breathtaking than the last. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications right now, because trust me, you do not want to miss what's coming next. And in that instant, Tan Songyun's entire world narrowed into a single desperate thought: please tell me he's okay. The audience didn't notice immediately. She was answering a question, maintaining her usual composure, smiling gently the way she always did. But as the staff member approached her from the shadows of the stage, her expression changed, so subtly at first it was almost imperceptible. Her smile faltered. Her eyes flickered to the left. Her posture stiffened. For a heartbeat, she tried to continue, forcing a polite laugh, but her voice wavered. The staff member leaned close, whispering the rumor in her ear, and Tan Songyun's reaction was immediate, visceral, impossible to hide. Her face drained of color. Her breath caught mid-sentence. Her hand lifted unconsciously to her chest, as though steadying herself against an invisible impact. The audience fell silent, sensing a rupture in the moment without understanding its cause. The cameras zoomed in instinctively, capturing every detail of her shifting expression, the widening of her eyes, the tremble at the corner of her mouth, the unspoken fear that surged through her before she could mask it. She tried to speak, tried to maintain her professionalism, but the words collapsed before they could form. She looked toward the wings of the stage again, desperate to hear more, desperate for confirmation or denial, desperate for anything that could anchor her. Instead, what she got was silence, broken only by the echo of the rumor still ringing in her mind. Her microphone lowered slightly in her grasp. She swallowed hard, her voice thin and strained as she attempted to maintain composure. But her eyes betrayed her. They weren't calm. They weren't composed. They weren't in performance mode. They were searching, wildly, desperately, for truth, for reassurance, for a single voice to tell her that what she'd just heard wasn't real. Audience members later described her expression in those seconds as one of the most heart-wrenching things they had ever witnessed, an honest, raw reaction that stripped away the celebrity image and revealed the real human beneath. The moment the rumor reached her, she wasn't China's beloved actress, she wasn't the elegant, poised public figure. She was simply someone terrified of losing the person who had come to mean so much to her. The host tried to continue the event, unaware of the emotional storm building within her. But Tan Songyun couldn't pretend. She blinked rapidly, her breath sharp and uneven, the edges of her voice catching every time she tried to speak. When she finally managed a response, her words came out thin and tremulous, each syllable struggling against the overwhelming fear tightening in her chest. She whispered to the staff, "Is he hurt? Is he okay? Please, please tell me he's okay." But no one had the answers yet. The rumor had spread too fast, too chaotically, leaping from phone to phone before anyone could verify it. And that uncertainty was the most unbearable part. She wasn't reacting to confirmed news, she was reacting to the possibility of losing him without warning, to the terrifying thought that something irreversible might have happened outside her reach. One camera captured her hand tightening around the microphone, knuckles turning pale as she tried, with every fiber of her being, to stay grounded. Another captured the subtle tremor in her lips as she tried to steady her breathing. Another caught the exact moment she lifted her eyes toward the balcony lights, fighting the collapse she felt building inside her. Fans who watched the footage described it as a moment that shattered them. They saw the fear, the love, the desperation, all surfacing in a rush that she couldn't contain. They saw the woman who had stood beside Sukai through whispers, rumors, and endless scrutiny reduced to a single aching question: is he safe? And the truth was, nothing in that moment mattered to her: no cameras, no event schedule, no professionalism, no public expectations. The only thing that mattered was whether Sukai was alive, unharmed, breathing, conscious, reachable. Her entire being was suspended in a painful, breathless uncertainty. The clip spread like wildfire across social media, fans replaying it frame by frame, analyzing her expressions, her trembling breaths, her whispered pleas, trying to understand the depth of what she was feeling. It wasn't just worry, it wasn't just shock. It was something deeper, something rooted in every quiet moment she had shared with Sukai behind the scenes, every private conversation, every unspoken bond between them. And as the world watched her break in real time, one truth became undeniable: this wasn't just a co-star reacting to a rumor. This was a woman terrified of losing someone she cared about far more deeply than the public had ever fully understood. This was Tan Songyun's heart, exposed without warning. And the world would never forget it. The moment Tan Songyun heard the rumor of Sukai's accident, the atmosphere inside the event hall shifted with a force so sharp and immediate that everyone present felt it before they even understood what was happening. 1 second, she was mid-sentence, speaking with her usual calm clarity, addressing the crowd with a confidence honed from years under the spotlight. The next, a member of her team approached the stage with a tension so visible that the audience sensed something was terribly wrong. And although there were no words whispered into a microphone, no dramatic announcement, no visible exchange that a camera could zoom into, the subtle shift in Tan Songyun's expression told the entire story. Her smile faltered, her gaze locked onto the team member's eyes for a single telling moment, and every layer of her professional composure cracked just slightly, revealing the raw fear that had shaken her to the core. The rumor hit her with the quiet violence of something she didn't see coming, the kind of moment that steals the breath from your chest first and understanding second. She did not cry, she did not scream, she did not collapse, but the silence around her changed in a way only someone emotionally connected to Sukai could have made it change. Her eyelids fluttered as if bracing herself, the microphone in her hand lowering slowly, her breath catching in a barely visible tremor. The audience, unaware of the details but keenly aware of the tension, watched with confusion edging into concern. Something was wrong, deeply wrong, and although they did not yet know what, Tan Songyun's eyes told them that the news she had just received was something she was not prepared to handle. She stood still for several long seconds. No one spoke. No one moved. Even the production crew froze, holding their breath as if afraid a single sound might cause everything to break. Tan Songyun swallowed, her throat tightening, forcing herself to remain on her feet even as an unmistakable wave of fear washed over her. The rumor, the unconfirmed, unverified whisper of Sukai being involved in an accident, spread through her mind faster than any official statement possibly could, filling every corner of her thoughts with the terrifying possibility of loss, fear, and urgency. She tried to continue. She attempted to return to her speech, to hold her posture, to steady her voice, but her words came out thin, fragile, trembling against the weight of her emotions. The audience felt it immediately, that crack of humanity breaking through the polished facade, the unmistakable fragility of someone trying to hold on to composure while her world threatened to crumble beneath her. Her hands shook slightly as she adjusted the microphone, her gaze unfocused for a heartbeat, as though she was suddenly thousands of miles away from that stage, standing instead in the unknown space where fear and love collide in the worst possible way. Her team, sensing that she was on the edge, moved subtly behind the stage to prepare for any emergency. Coordinators exchanged hurried looks. Cameras zoomed in. The silence grew heavier. Fans in the audience leaned forward, confusion turning to worry as they realized this was not a scripted moment, not a performance, but something painfully real unfolding right before their eyes. Finally, unable to continue pretending she had everything under control, Songyun took a small step backward, her voice barely above a whisper as she asked for a moment. The audience watched as she lowered her head, pressing a hand lightly to her face, not to hide tears, because none had fallen yet, but to gather every ounce of strength she could muster. She was fighting panic, fighting the instinct to run, fighting the urge to let fear consume her before she knew the truth. And then, her voice broke. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a single, fragile fracture in the armor she had spent years learning to wear. A soft, desperate plea slipped out, barely audible but unmistakable in its emotion, "Please tell me he's okay."